The easiest way for you to scale your SaaS ads is to increase your hit rate. But to do that, you need to understand the psychology behind why some ads win and why others don't. I've personally helped founders run millions of dollars in ad spend and generate mid-eight figures in new sales. And I found that there are four key psychological principles that go into winning campaigns. And today, I'll explain you what these principles are and how you can apply them to scale your SaaS. The first principle is that you gotta stop being vague in your messaging, because vague messaging simply burns your ad budget. Too many founders make this mistake of trying to appeal to their entire total addressable market when they start running paid ads. As a result, platforms cannot figure out who exactly to show their ads to. They burn this runway such way and never start booking calls with people who are actually motivated to learn more about the product. I suggest that you rather approach it in a completely different way. You want to first target the top 5% of the highest intent in-market buyers with your ads, and only after you capture this part of the market, you can then afford to scale further. Usually, you can easily scale beyond 1 mil ARR and even beyond 3 million ARR just by selling to this top 5% of the market, depending on the industry and vertical you're in. For example, the broader the industry, the longer you can rely on just using this direct messaging in your ad campaigns. I have seen how many founders burned their entire budgets just by having 20 different ads, speak something relevant to their offer, but never actually present the offer clearly. And I've been working with one solution, and they've been selling the software related to, let's say, financial institutions. And they have solved one specific pain point for these financial institutions and to different fintech startups. And they've been trying to get results with their ad campaigns. When I first saw the ads that they've been running, I was not surprised that none of them worked, because you could not find a single ad out of all the 20 different ones they were running where you would go from start to finish and you would clearly understand who they are targeting and who do they want to get in front of and what is the exact thing that they are selling. And this is the first thing which we fixed with them. So now they're booking between like 3 and 5 calls a week after like the first couple of weeks of running their ad campaigns. It's not a huge result yet, but at least we've got a solid foundation now on top of which we start building further and further. You need to first capture your top 3% of the highest intent buyers by using direct offer and direct messaging in your ads, because this way the ad platforms and ad algorithm is going to understand who exactly to show your ads to. If, for example, your ads are going to say something like, this feature does this and this. I mean, sure, but the Meta algorithm or Google algorithm will never understand, okay, who are the right type of people we want to reach with that. At the same time, especially on Meta, if you can clearly say, we help this type of companies solve this pain point, couple benefits, go take this action now, this allows you to get in front of the right audiences and the right pockets way quicker. And as a result, you get the right meetings sooner, you close initial sales, you go beyond break even on your campaigns and start profiting. And this allows you to start funding larger and larger ad budgets, because ads are often expensive at the start because you're not making any money of them. But the moment you start collecting more than you are spending, it becomes an unreasonable money printer for you to ignore. And that's why the ads are only expensive until you start making money with them, because once you do, I don't want to say that you are set forever, but practically from now you're going to be turning $1 into $2, $3, $4, $5 or more by relying on this messaging that you need. And the psychological principle I want to highlight here is that it's super important for you to directly present your offer to the top 3% of the most motivated buyers first, get in front of them and capture them. And only once you do, and typically you're gonna make quite some money after you do it successfully for some time, only after that you can transition to scaling to other audiences. Because if you're trying to appeal to everyone at the start, this is the most cost inefficient way, and I think the worst way for you to do it, because as a result you're just gonna burn like all the money you raised or wired into your SaaS by trying to sell to too many people at once. Instead, I think that you're way better off shortlisting 3 to 5 buyer personas by doing the competitor analysis, researching which ads are already performing best for your competitors, and doing different checks like this, so that you can at least capture those customer profiles first and then transitioning further. The second psychological principle is your hook versatility. I've seen so many founders fail with paid ads just because their hooks and their creatives are not versatile enough. This is something you must look for, because you can easily like create dozens, if not hundreds of different ads and think that you checked off all the boxes just because you've done 100 different ads, but in reality all of them are on the same ad angle. They're all talking about one pain, or they're all trying to attract one specific type of persona. Instead of that, you may treat this as a let's say a day of you fishing. If you only try one spot with one specific set of equipment in one specific time, you're not gonna get the best chances of you coming back with tuna. But if, let's say, you get 5 people who go across different lakes around your area, they try, I mean, I don't have all this fishing vocabulary, but you get the point. They try different times for catching fish, try different equipment and so on, and different spots. You're gonna get way better chances of catching the tuna that you are after. The same thing happens here with ads, but instead of you sending 5 teenagers to catch fish for you, you're gonna be running and launching multiple different campaigns and testing all this with your ad budget. So that's why I think it's unreasonable to only go after one specific persona with just one specific type of messaging without versatility in your ad formats. And instead, there are a couple key ad formats which I usually get my clients to start with. Some of this includes social proof, then I have the before and after, I have breaking limiting beliefs type of angles, and then highlighting different outcomes your product can deliver, because I'm sure there is not just one thing your product can help someone achieve, but you can brainstorm 10, 15, 20, or 25, and you can then shortlist a few of them and test them with your ads. And another way to approach it is you can list the buyer situations and think of all the different scenarios when the ideal person you want to attract may want to buy your product. This way, you're gonna be testing different pockets and audiences across your market, and this will allow you to see which one is actually the most sustainable initially for you to start your advertising foundation on. I would say that as long as you give your ad account enough versatility for multiple attempts, it's indeed like there is no way you don't see some booked calls coming in qualified and prepared from at least one of the angles, if you are adequately communicating what the hell you're selling. And this is why it's super important for you to have enough versatility across your ads for a couple of reasons. One, so that you can see which ad pocket performs best, and secondly, because the platform does not just show one same ad to the same person many different times, but instead it finds, at least Meta algorithm is structured such way that it would be finding the right sequence in which to present your ads to a certain group of buyers. And that's why you want this versatility to be there, so that even when one ad stops performing, it can then go and diversify towards showing other ads that you have there in your campaign. The third psychological principle is using 3-step breakdowns. A lot of technical founders who start advertising, they don't know how to communicate the process between someone booking a call and someone getting a result. And this gap is where a lot of your potential buyers drop off, and that's why you don't want to lose them there. So one good method I know around this is using 3-step breakdowns, from someone booking a call with you to them getting a result. Because even if you're selling some enterprise infrastructure, complicated software for a big chunk of money, still this allows you to, yes, it does require some work for you to understand, okay, what exactly we want to highlight, what we do want to mention, what we don't want to mention, etc. But once you spend this 10-15 minutes to really think, okay, what are the exact 3 steps how I get someone from point A to point B, and then you can communicate them in your ad campaigns. This allows you to build this bridge in people's heads, and you just get a lot more calls booked this way, because a lot more people are going to book calls with you once they believe and understand how you get them from point A to point B, rather than when you say, oh, there's this huge great benefit I can get you to, go book a call and pay me money. I mean, a lot of people are just going to skip by that because they're not sold on the idea and they're not sold on the journey, and that's why you do want to communicate it. I recently had another client example when they said, okay, there's just no way we can communicate all the stuff we integrate for them in less than 5 steps, but after a couple rounds of iterations and about 20 minutes, we found, okay, first step we do A, second step we help you with B, final step we help you with Z, and that's how you get this one great benefit as a result. I promise you that once you start communicating your processes this way in your video ads, it's unreasonable you don't see an increase in your conversions. Another thing to point out here is that you potentially don't want to stick to just one type of explanation early on, but you want to A/B test this as well. So the way I run it in my own campaigns and with clients is the following. We have all the different hooks, then we have multiple versions of the offer, which we basically link with the hooks. Then we have 2 to 3 types of 3-step breakdowns, and then we have 2-3 different CTAs. And if you look at this structure, it allows you to basically test all the different iterations of this thing, and once you see which one is performing better, you then start testing more around this. Okay, let's say that the hook number 2, the offer number 3, and the 3-step breakdown number 1 with CTA number 1 performed best. Okay, how can we now test this thing further and to actually start understanding which part of this structure is responsible for us getting great results? So again, instead of, if you're not sure what's the absolute best way for you to present your journey from A to Z, I would say that you do need to A/B test this as well, because this will allow you to find the best way to articulate how your software helps someone achieve the result. And now the psychological principle number 4 is that the reasonable claims attract the best buyers. A lot of us here have read the Hormozi books, the $100 million offers, and this has completely changed how internet marketing was done, just because once you get millions of marketers start advertising in a certain way, it really changes the whole meta around digital marketing and so on. But after a couple of years of people doing, I help you make this much in a couple days or you don't pay, there is actually a reverse trend which has been happening for the past year, and I've seen this proven time and time again across different ad accounts, is that you no longer actually want these ridiculous claims as the core of your marketing, because it only ruins your results. I think out of the past, let's say 50 people I worked with over the past 12 months, nearly every single time we would be stepping away from making some huge ridiculous claims towards me helping them structure offer around something which is more believable and straightforward. For example, that's how I went from an offer which was, I help you make this much money in this much in this many days, or I refund you this amount and then fly you to Dubai and whatever, and some other crazy things I was playing around with. From that, I went towards an offer which is, I help you launch profitable paid ads in 14 days. That's it. And same thing applies if you're selling software, because instead of you trying to, especially it applies to trying to land enterprise contracts and enterprise buyers, because if you come to Coca-Cola and you tell them, yo guys, we'll help you make 5 mil in 2 months using this super mega double backflip AI thing. It just sounds, I mean, you're not gonna get as much success this way. If you're selling to sophisticated audiences, and especially if you are selling a B2B software, and if you're going towards enterprises, the way you get the most calls booked is by you being direct and reasonable in the exact thing that you're selling. Instead of you, like, because I've seen this one example recently, that thousands of different agencies in cold email, they started selling the service as, we help you make this much money in this time frame, or risk reversal. And there is one guy I know who has been running an offer which is, excuse the wording, but it sounds something like, we'll help you start sending cold emails that get replies, something like that. And it's been working like crazy, and he's been booking like hundreds of calls a month and being profitable on his ad campaigns, just because while everyone is trying to pitch the next double backflip system, what he's been doing is just promising a reasonable, straightforward thing in a reasonable time frame. And I assure you that if you give it a try across your ad campaigns right now, time and time again, I'm seeing how this only positively affects your conversions, because I feel that it's just not my feeling, it's just from all the thousands of examples I'm seeing, that the market has been very exhausted by all these double backflip systems that magically generate ridiculous amounts of money. And that's why if you just go with something like our HR payroll solution helps you let's do something like helps you pay salaries to hundreds employees worldwide without some certain fees. And if you just specifically word your offers like in a similar way, guess what is going to happen? People who are interested in this exact thing are going to be coming to calls. And why this is performing so much better is because, like, think of this example. You have two calls. You have the first call with someone who comes from an ad which said, we help you make $1 million in a year using our HR thing for organizations. They did not check anything about what you do, and they ignored all the resources. They come to the call, they sit like this, and they're like, okay, stop asking me these stupid questions. Now give me your pitch, how the hell you're gonna make me this $1 million in a couple months that you promised. And you're sitting there on this call thinking like, what the hell am I doing with my life, and why am I running all of this thing right now? And then there is a second call with someone who comes from an ad which says, our HR payroll system allows you to pay salaries to over 100 employees worldwide without hidden fees. They also didn't check anything you sent them in your pre-call resources, and they just saw this ad, no matter if it was an image, a static image or a video, and they just come to the call. Guess what they're gonna expect for you to show them and for you to discuss with them? Your HR payroll system that allows them to pay to over 100 employees. And now think who out of these two is going to be an easier person to sell to. From my experience and from all the experience I've done with clients, even though you might be getting cheaper calls with this make a lot of money in no time type offer, the amount of effort you would need to then put into your sales process and into your fulfillment just makes this unreasonable, and it just makes it not worth it. At the same time, even if you're getting $50 more expensive calls, $100 more expensive calls, or whatever, paying slightly higher fees on the front end to get higher quality calls, once you get these calls with this type of people, you can actually scale way quicker and way faster, just because you need much less overhead, because you don't need a huge sales team of people convincing these prospects to buy. You just need, let's say, 1 or 2 closers who just are pretty much taking the orders. They're coming to the meeting, they say, yes, we actually have this HR payroll system, it's ready to be used, let's set you up on a free trial or this intro offer or whatever. Then, since people had reasonable expectations before signing up for your tool, they do not cause you troubles and headaches during their product usage process, because they're not emailing you every single night saying, why the hell I still have not made this much money that you promised me. This allows you to hire fewer customer support people, you sleep better at night, and it's just a way more sustainable business for you to build. And I would say this might be one of the most important psychological principles out of all that I listed here, because if you make grounded, reasonable, specific claims in your marketing, sometimes you get higher cost per booked call, but your overall business, how sustainable it is, how solid the foundation of it is, and how much less headache you have in fulfillment, makes it so much worth it. And if you still haven't given it a try, you can A/B test both campaigns, and instead of just comparing them on a cost per booked call level, actually give each of these approaches, let's say, a few weeks or maybe even months, and then see which one is allowing you to build a way more sustainable LTV business. And from everything I've seen, it's going to be giving reasonable grounded claims and offers in your marketing. Appreciate you watched this video, and talk soon.